Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. You know what? Let's start off with Eric and Bella because I'm like, Bella, you are so out of line. I don't even know where to begin. You walk in there, you start you start practically getting up in his face. You are calling Sloan a bitch. And I'm like, wait, first of all, you don't even like hearing that word. But you have no problems that they're calling somebody else that? And you're upset because Eric is getting serious with Sloan. Like, what does that actually have to do with you? Why are you so angry? And of course, she says that she's angry because, she can't control her own life, so she wants to sit there and try to control somebody else's. But she gets up in his face and she starts yelling at him and this, that, and the third. Marlena comes in there and Marlena's like, oh, I can't believe you two are going at each other. I'm like, whoa. First of all, you might want to come in here and check your facts before you start looking at both of them like they're both wrong. Because at the end of the day, there's only one person that was wrong in this whole thing, and that was Bella. And why? Because Sean has been sitting there whining for days and weeks and weeks and weeks about the same damn thing. But instead of her sitting there trying to find a more reasonable way of going about her anger and her frustration, she decides to sit there and take it out on Sloan. I'm like, boo. And to have her sit there and go at Eric like he did something wrong? Nah, Marlena, you can, like she said, oh, I'm gonna leave. Bye. Take your food somewhere. Go back to eating hospital food because I'm pretty sure that's a lot more tasty. Um, Now Sloane's at the hospital, and of course she picks up the vitamins. I think that the vitamins or whatever. And at first, Nicole tries to lie way out of it, but Sloane is not an idiot. Okay, so Sloane figures out that she's pregnant, and Nicole's like, I don't know who's going to be biased, either one person or the other. I don't know if it's even going to be Eric's at that point. But she does sit there and be like, hey, listen, you need to keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, you can wind up losing Eric. And if it turns out it's not Eric's baby, then, you know what I'm saying? You created distance for no reason. So Sloane agrees for a little bit. Marlena comes in there. And Sloane is like, I want to sit there and go out to dinner. You know, maybe me, Eric, you, and John can go out to dinner. And of course, Marlena's, is a bit standoffish, which I'm just like, bro, you don't even know her. You haven't even actually got a chance to know her. Yeah, you heard stories about her, but you don't know her. If she's sitting there trying to, give you an olive branch, at the very least you can do, if nothing else, for your son is to be like, all right, yeah, we'll see, we'll make it through or whatever. I'm like, you don't know her. And I think that was the part that just kind of pissed me off. But then she starts talking to Marlena. Marlena overhears something about keeping a secret. Keeping a secret. And at first, Nicole seemed like she kind of slipped up in her lies. She was like, oh, she was just sitting there saying keep a secret to get under my skin. And Marlena was like, oh, okay, I guess I just misoverheard. I just misheard or whatever. I'm like, oh, that's the best you can do? Been a liar for years. Please tell me you can do better than that. And of course, she's like, okay, well, if you must know, I was like, okay, good. She was like, well, Sloane just wants to sit there and rub it in my face that, I'm going through menopause or whatever. And, it's a much better, believable story. Now, with Paulina, Abe, and Colin, this scene, here's the thing. I've been saying that Colin is a POS, human trash, right? I understood. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying that what he's doing is right because it's total trash. And using Talia like that is total trash. Okay, I'm not sitting there trying to advocate for this man whatsoever, but I understood in that situation his feelings because when he talked about the whole incident with his mother and Sloane and everything like that, Abe and particularly Paulina was being so cavalier about the situation, so nonchalant about it, and being all like, oh, well, they never filed charges against us, this, that, and the third. I'm like, listen, they cannot file charges against you. It doesn't mean you're not guilty. It doesn't mean you're not guilty. Just because you managed to beat the trial, it doesn't erase it doesn't mean that you're not guilty. It just means that the lawyer and the prosecutors and things of that nature didn't do their job enough to sit there and convict you. And even when, because after a while you can tell that Colin was just getting so pissed off at the way they was like they're talking about my daughter did nothing wrong and this, that, and the third, and it was all the professor's fault, and he seduced her. And I'm like, I get it about a power dynamic. And I get the idea that, Chanel was not there looking up to this guy, and yes, what this guy did was wrong, okay? And even Chanel was like, I realized that I did play a part in it. So I'm not discounting that part. Things do happen, right? The thing that pisses me off is not even so much like, what Chanel did was an accident. Okay, it happens. I'm not gonna sit there and go at her. I'm going at her mother though, particularly because um she hit it. Whereas like any sort of charges that might have actually been that might have actually been pressed on her were just swept under the rug because Paulina had money and she had influence. And I felt like what Paulina did was wrong. To be honest, I understand people's understand. Well, that's her daughter, and I don't care. I don't give a damn. That was still wrong with what she did, and so I understand Colin's point of view when he was like, "Oh yeah, you just came in there, and you kind of swept it under the rug, and you paid, and you did the whole thing to make it go away, and that wasn't right." And that I could sit there and agree on, but it's just coming out more and more and more. And then finally, Colin just slips up and he talks about the text, as far as watching it back, and they both kind of realize, oh wait, you're the person that's going after me. I think that what it really came down to was like Pauline's attitude, her standoffish attitude, the fact that she act like there was no wrongdoing, like the parents' death or whatever didn't really matter. Like that was the energy that she was sitting there portraying to some extent. So this dude picked up with a little baking tools. Not exactly what it's called, but he picked that thing up and he knocked it right upside his head, like, boom. Pauline is there checking on him like, oh, you okay? Wake up, wake up. It was like, do you not see the psychopath that just clocked your husband in the head? But you think he's just going to run away? Like he's just done? You can't be that dumb. Oh, wait a minute. I keep forgetting I'm talking about Pauline. So, of course, he comes right after her. She does her whole terrible screaming and yelling, like suspense or whatever. And I was just like, man, this is pretty bad. It's pretty bad. It's like I can't even sit there and make fun of it. It's just bad. Um, Sloan comes back to talk to Eric, and at that point, because Bella apologized to Eric for her behavior and talking about, I'm stressed out about the whole Sean situation. It was even nice to, or decent, I was sit there and say decent to Sloan. Meanwhile, you got Jada and you got Rafe putting together the pieces, and long story short, they go through the database and they realize, oh, okay, so this is Colin or whatever. He does got a record, and they also realize that that Colin and Sloan are siblings. So they try to get a hold of Talia because Jada was like, I want to talk to Talia first before anything, and I'm like, that's a real bad idea because like Rafe Smith is saying, if Talia is really under Colin's spell, because that's what we're calling it, um, you don't think that she would sit there and try to tip him off or anything? Like, really? Anyway, she tries to call a couple of times, no answer. So she goes to the pub and she confronts Jada and Eric. And Eric gets defensive. I mean, not Jada, Sloan and Eric. And Eric gets defensive, but Rafe was like, no, we're not here for you. Sloan, we want to sit there and talk to your brother. And that's when Eric turns around like, so But of course, she's going to sit there and try to play it off like I didn't know he was in town and blah, 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 blah. And he'll probably get away with it for a little bit. But I feel like Sloane, I feel like at some point it may just come up and, she may be exposed later on. Meanwhile, Talia the idiot, listen, I'm not gonna be nice to Talia at this point. I'm just not. I'm over this character. I was over her since day one. And her character has just gotten a lot worse. So now she gets to a point where she comes over there and her and Chanel start making out. They want to go into the bedroom, and then Talia stops. And she's like, I can't do this. And she's like, I gotta sit there and confess something. So stupid. So damn dumb. You know, people have been comparing Chanel and Maxie as far as, trusting the wrong people, being gullible, being stupid, but to some extent, up until this point with the whole murder trial thing, I mean, well, not murder trial, but up until this point of thinking that Talia couldn't be responsible when she was sitting there talking to Chanel. When she was talking to Talia, like, no, there's no way. I don't know why your sister would sit there and be so upset with, be accusing you like if it was my sister. I'll be upset. And I'm like, well, then, Chanel, you're an idiot. Because Lonnie at one point was a cop. So she does approach you. She's not approaching you because she doesn't trust you. She's approaching you because it's her goddamn job. But going with the whole comparison thing as far as trusting the wrong people, I'm not going to sit there. I can't sit there and compare those two. I can't compare those two. Yeah, she wants to sit there and move on and everything. And up until this point, she has no reason, really, to sit there and not trust Talia. So, just, because I think like a couple weeks ago in the live stream, people was like, oh, well, she's just like Maxie. She's just as stupid as Maxie. But I'm like, listen, there is way differences between those two. Because with Maxie on General Hospital, Maxie was warned by everybody of not to be with Peter. And she was warned by people who knew her damn near her whole life, or for a very long time. And Maxie was like, I'm not listening to anyone. They're just quote unquote haters. Okay? That is a far cry difference from her and Snow. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I can't think of anything else that I missed. But like always, if I didn't miss anything, come to the live stream tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Um, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. I love Cynthia talking about days. Um, I said this in the other reviews, and I'll sit there and say this in this one. I love talking about General Hospital. I love talking about all the soap operas. I feel like a lot of times we just generally do get more people in there that talks, that's General Hospital fans. But I love sit there and talk about Days as well, and I love sit there and talk about Y&R and B&B. So I always encourage people to sit there and come through. We have a lot of fun. Um, we have a pretty good group, so come through. Anyway, with that being said, if I did miss anything, you know what to do, and hopefully I'll sit there and see you tonight. I want to thank you for watching. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video. I just want to wait till it gets to 14 minutes. Yeah, I'm pretty superstitious in that way. Alright, laters.